Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight's Core GT Series presented by Owner Motor Supplies heads to Japan for Suzuka. It's penultimate round here in the series. 2 races left tonight, and then next week the 2-hour season finale. And man, this season has been shaping up, and it's coming to a boiling point at this stage right here, and that the points very close. We'll get to that in a second. Before we do that, Carl Handwork joined in the booth tonight by my brother from a southern mother. We got Jimmy Covert here in the booth taking over for Mark here tonight. Jimmy, how's it going tonight?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. It's a little warm down here. I always run the AC. I wish it would cool down a little bit, you know, lower these electric bills around here. But either way, I'm ready to watch some fantastic racing. By watching these guys kind of get around here. I've been in and out of racing, you know, obviously the past month or so. But I tried to get out here and get some times in, and I just did not feel comfortable. Way off the pace, barely faster than the GT3s, and it was just I needed to get back on the track and get going again, because once you take some time off, it really does affect the way you drive. So, anyways, I'm back here. I'm ready to go. Filling in for Mark Thomas. You know, I can't really replace Mark, so. You know, I have them on my broadcast on Saturdays, and it's a delight. So we have fun over there. They're looking fun to have be over here and see what these guys can show us here tonight.
Yeah, certainly going to be interesting here. Suzuka, a track that very rarely, if ever, we get a chance to head to. But these guys are out here tackling this track here, and you see one of the few tracks that is a figure 8. So you're actually you're taking a look right there in the background. You see the overpass and underpass there for the track, and it's really that section right there can be very tricky. You got the double right-hander that takes you underneath the bridge. Need to be quick out of there and set you into the hairpin. But going over top, when you go over that bridge, you don't notice it when you're going over it, but that turn that's right there that goes to the left, 130R, is one that you want to take flat out. You want to take it as fast as you can, but it is very sketchy at high speeds. But we'll take a look at what we've been kind of discussing before, and that is the point standings. And you see it right there. Can't really get much closer. Mason Smith having a good round last week, and you know, helped out that Chris Hamilton did not have a good round, so it moves Chris down 18 points behind Mason. But Alex Carver back in the scene and back out here tonight, and doing pretty well. He's at 19 points behind coming into tonight. David Tilford 49 points back. Matt Goring not in the field here tonight. He was 103 points back, but those top 4, all of them in the top 4 still have a shot at this title. You take a look at the GT3 standings, and well, 1 point. That's it. 1 single point in between first and second. Parks de la Cruz taking over the points lead by 1 over Pal Casca. 28 back to Tim Ponzi, 39 to Dominique Ford, and 78 back to Tyler Kokeko. Tyler would need a pretty epic finish to the season to get back in here, but the top 4 certainly still in the mix. So Suzuka, one of those tracks where you feel like there may be a little bit more passing opportunities for these guys when it comes to the LMP3s, because there's a lot more corners, and maybe just all in all a better chance for them to use their grip to their advantage. But Jimmy, not really the case.
No, I mean, I've done a few races here at Suzuka in the GT3, and there's really only, you know, 2 good ones, and there's like a third and possible fourth. And obviously, if somebody makes a mistake, you can take advantage of that. But the passing zones are really tight, and with the speed of the GT3s, it's really going to be on the drivers to work with each other to make a safe pass. It would be obviously in best interest for the LMP3s to be a little bit patient with the GT3s, and hopefully the GT3s notice who's behind them and just kind of allow that transition to happen. The LMP3s are going to be faster because they can get to the corners faster. I mean, you can see right now by the qualifying, we're looking at about 6 seconds in difference lap times, and that's due to the LMP3's ability to get around the corners. But you know, if the GT3 is in the way and the LMP3's got to take the longer way around, you know, it just becomes a sketchy situation, and somebody's going to go off in the grass or the gravel. And at least a good thing, Carl, with this new physics of the grass and gravel that iRacing implemented, you can save the car and you're not going to skate off, or you might be able to not skate off into the wall and ruin your night. So hopefully the drivers work with each other. I know we've seen some great racing in the past. We have five LMP3s out here, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but they really need to practice a little bit of patience around the other GT3s to not get in any trouble tonight.
Yeah, that 6 seconds sounds nice, and it looks like actually close to about 5.5 seconds now as Dominique Ford puts in a new whole lap for the GT3s, but that's all well and fine by themselves. Once you get in there together, there's places where you figure, okay, well, you know, going into turn one, you got that nice long straightaway, send you into turn one, you should have a, you know, be able to have a passing opportunity. But we've seen more often than not these GT3s just keep pace, and you can't just draft and pass, because once that LMP3 gets out of line and gets into that fresh air, it hits a wall. So need to turn these guys' sound off real quick. But we are complete with qualifying now, and we'll give you guys a rundown of the results here, starting with the LMP3 class. It is going to be Alex Carver on the pole. David Tilford going to start second. Third is going to be David Tamira. Bit of a shock here. Chris Hamilton was able to qualify, but only fourth best and about 1.5 seconds off the pace. So going to need to find that here in the race. And then obviously Mason, the points leader, going to be starting in 5th position. Switching over to the GT3s, you got Dominique Ford on the pole, the only one to crack the 2-minute flat mark. Timothy Ponzi in second, Hector Colazzo in third, Pal Casca fourth, John Nobinger rounding out your top 5. Then you got a B. Vishwasam, Kelly Pointer, Mark Parkhurst, Tyler Kokeko, Craig Potter rounding out your top 10, Michael Viglio, Terry Jansen, your points leader, Parks De La Cruz in 13th. And then Tim Thompson rounding out the GT3 field. These guys are lined up. We are getting ready to fire these guys off. And Jimmy, you get to join us up here in the booth. You get to relax a little bit, not have to worry about it out there. Are you ready for the penultimate round here in the core GT3 series, or GT series?
I'm definitely ready to watch these guys race. I'm really anxious to get back in the car. I won't lie, Carl. I've been itching here to put my foot in the gas and get around here and start getting back into the flow of things and get back on a normal schedule. But I'm looking forward to see what these guys can do. Obviously, Alex Carver going to lead these LMP3s down here for the start. I'm hoping that they're just going to take it easy and stretch their legs a little bit from the GT3s as they are packed up behind them. But you can see the LMP3s off now as they are starting green. Alex Carver going down to turn 1. There's no passing until after turn 2, which is the second part of this turn down here as they come around here. So, and this is pretty much an easy. It's just I think allowing the LMP3s to kind of everybody to stay single file and no passing has paid big dividends, I think, here for the GT series. You know, pretty good starts. Nobody diving in and taking their time. Is, you know, they're out here for 45 minutes. That's, you know, a lot longer than a lot of races that you find on the officials for iRacing.
Yeah, it's longer, but it's short in the same breath as these guys kind of need to get on their horse, especially if you're starting back towards the back of the pack, like Parks De La Cruz now has to come from the back, and that one lone point that he had in the lead over Pal Casca is obviously already erased with Casca's qualifying position. But he's got to get a move on, but we've seen him be nice and calm and controlled going through the field. We'll see if he can keep that demeanor here tonight. But look like these guys may be missing you in the car as well with the announcements. It has looked like these GT3s got on it and caught up to the back of the LMP3s before we actually went green there, and kind of caused a bit of calamity. And it looks like we might have had an incident here already with Tim Thompson. This is at the back of the pack here, coming into the hairpin. And just getting a little sideways, a little squirrely, and going to spin that thing around. Luckily, nobody around him, and he's able to get that Speed Monkeys Porsche back going.
Yeah, just a little bit of too much brake entering the corner there. And you know, one thing that I've been trying to practice, I've been watching some videos and trying to make myself a little bit faster and finding some time on some tracks, is doing a lot more steering with the brakes. You know, basically trying to send that car around. So when you're practicing tracks or whatever, basically you're trying to find the edge between loose and tight going through your corner, and basically minimizes your tire wear when you finally get down, and you pick up so much time. But it's I've been adjusting like a lot of corner entries because of it. So I'm missing some time right now, but it does feel better, and I'm going to continue to work on that. Is, you know, these are some of the tips that come from some of the faster drivers on the iRacing service. So I just figured I'd give it a whirl before I go back to maybe some of my bad habits. But yeah, right there, just a little bit too much brakes from Tim Thompson as he got sent around. But something happened to Audi Ligier, as he is now on the back burner there.
Look, this is him already spun out, so possibly back here in the end. This is 130R, just catching the curbing a little bit wrong, and hard impact into the wall. Doesn't look like he actually did much damage, so maybe the tire barrier being real kind to him coming off there. He did get it turned back around and back on the track, but that was a rough impact there for the 08 machine, as he's going to fall all the way to the back of the field. If you're a little confused and wondering what's going on here at the front with Dominic Ford, not in the Mercedes here tonight. He is in the Ferrari, a good-looking Ferrari at that. And it's the first time I've seen him not in that Mercedes here all season. But I mean, looking at the timing tower there, it tells you what these guys are favoring. There's 5 Ferraris out there, 7 Porsche, 1 BMW, your points leader, and then Terry Jansen in the Ford. That's it. Just 4 manufacturers being covered here tonight out of the potential, technically 9, since there's 2 different Ferraris that can be run out here tonight. But a little bit of a battle here as Timothy Ponzi holding off Hector Collazo for now, and these guys are not letting Dominic Ford get away as well. We've seen Hector Collazo be a guy to really watch and a guy to beat. And the only time he was beaten was last week when he had computer issues. So kind of a self-inflicted wound, if you will. But other than that, if he's able to get to the end, he wins. So we'll see what he can do here tonight. First time we've seen him, I think, out here that he hadn't had the pole, starting in 3rd and having some trouble getting around Timothy Bonzi here.
Yeah, like I think we talked about it earlier. The passing places are limited here. As much as many curves and as long as this track is, it's a lot of fun. It's very technical, and you can go too wide through a lot of these corners. But you know how much trust you have in that other driver to race that corner and not trying to get it in here and use the fastest line. But yeah, I think you're seeing a lot of the new Ferraris out here. You know, iRacing tends to, we've seen it in the past, when the new vehicle hits the streets, it tends to get a lot of love. It usually feels better for the most part, you know, with all the updates. It's the newer vehicle, and you know, I'm not surprised to see the new Ferrari out here along with the Porsche, because the Porsche was, you know, the last vehicle that was updated as well. And I believe somebody is still running the old Ferrari out there. I think, I can't remember his name, but I did see the multicolor Ferrari out there about one of the GT3 drivers. So, but both Ferraris are being ran here tonight. So, but the new one up front looks looking pretty nice.
Alonso gets a good run out of the corner there, but Ponzi on full defensive mode. They're going to the left. Now these guys head into 130R, and again, you got to try and hit this perfect. And there's so many different ways you can hit that curve on the outside, but you hit it one little bit wrong, and it's going to send you around. We've seen a big Vischer deal with that earlier, but and Collazo putting on the pressure here, just cannot get a full clean run out of some of these corners to put on the charge to get up there. But looks like we have another issue here, but this is for your points leader in the LMP3 class. Oof. Mason Smith going a little wide on turn 2. And he is still stuck back there in 4th place. Has not been able to make up too much time on these lead cars, you know, even before that little incident right there. So maybe Mason biding a little time here, just kind of finding his way in here, or do we have some concern here for the 6?
Like I said, it's one of those technical tracks, and sometimes it's your day and sometimes it's not. And you know, just that little bit of off track, you know, before the new iRacing update, you know, if Mason would have touched that grass, besides a little bit of slowdown, he probably would have won around. And the ice the ice feeling, I guess, that the grass has now is not as significant. There's like actually like a little, like it's obviously you can't drive through it and do well, but it doesn't feel it doesn't feel like 100% like a slick pitch. Like, you know, if a clip of your tire touches the grass, I mean, your car used to go flying around, and I'm probably gonna do some more practice with that because I want to double check that, because like if you're going down like this straightaway right here and your right side tire hit the grass, I mean, your car would just do a 360 and you would wreck. So I believe they changed that, and I really do you know, commend iRacing for fixing that physics, because it was pretty bad. It just I mean, to punch somebody that significant for getting like quarter of your tire off the track, you know, it was pretty significant. So, but I think Mason, you can see right there, Mason, you know, going over towards the white line there, trying to get the best run possible. But I don't think Mason's down and out yet. He might be back a little bit, but we got plenty of racing left here. We're only 8 minutes in, you know, with 5 laps, and I'm not quite sure on the fuel level for these guys, but I think they're gonna at least make one pit stop. And if he might be trying to save his tires a little bit too, because I know the tire wear is pretty significant.
You see on the timing and scoring there, Alonso finally was able to make the pass, and this is down into the chicane at the end of the lap, and bold move there by the Porsche. A little bit of a rebuttal there from Ponzi, but it's not going to be had, as Alonso going to move himself into second place now in the GT3 class. So a nice bold move there from the 0-2. Now, can he do anything with the lead here, as Dominic Ford was able to stretch out just a little bit there? Still hasn't even reached the 1 second mark. Certainly not like Alex Carver up in the LMP3 class, who is just stretching his legs out to a 4 1/4 second lead right now over David Tilford. And got to give props to David. He was running very fast in practice, even running fast in qualifying. Obviously, qualifying on technically the front row. I know we start single file here, but it did start in second place here. So the fruits are certainly paying off here, and all the practice that David's putting in has really been shown the last few weeks.
Yeah, Dave's always had some pretty decent pace, and he gets better the more practice that he gets, and as he gets more comfortable with the car that he's driving or the track that he's at. And obviously some tracks you go to, you get more time at, and you see him there trying to play with Chris a little bit, trying to break his draft. Chris is just kind of like hanging on his coattails, and, you know, save that fuel, and you know, put him in this position where, you know, might have a faster pit stop here when it comes time to, or being able to stay out a little bit longer. I know from running the LMP3s, the lighter you get on fuel, the faster you get around here. So, you know, ooh, some major damage there on that 91. What happened to that car?
Well, we got a couple of incidents to take a look at here. First one is going to be Mark Parkhurst here, and seeing this incident pop up, and
too much brake.
Didn't look like any kind of damage, just a little bit of a slide off, but it took him a while to get back on. But as far as Dominic Ford trying to figure out where it happened, and right there it is.
Right there.
And we just talked about it, and that's Tim Ponzi, and Collazo getting the shove too, so he's got some damage in the back. And our top 3 all involved in that one way, shape, or another. And that is a huge, huge incident right there. You seen Dominic Ford going into the pits, some major damage on the front of his. Tim Ponzi, major damage on the front of his car as well. And then you see the back end of that Porsche bounced in as well. What a major turn of events here. And again, 130R with just a little bit of a miscue, and catching that curve the wrong way, it's going to go around on you.
Yeah, like when you come down for a 130R, and if you take it a little bit wide, you really can lose your car, and that's looks what happens. So you'll go off to the right, and it'll shoot you off to the left-hand side, spinning you around, and obviously you're going down to that chicane. And with that incident happen in front of the other, for second and third place, it really kind of put them in a pickle. So right now, Collazo out there trying to make do with what he's got with his car, but it looks like even with that rear end damage, just it hasn't hurt him too bad. I'm not sure. I wonder what his handling's like inside the car as he's getting around here at a pretty decent clip. I guess you'll see the time as it looks like he's going to continue to stay out. You know, Carl, I know those two drivers weren't immediately in. The incident happened right there. You're going to lose some time, but was it enough time for them to like come in? You know, because obviously these cars are going to need a pit stop. Was it too early, or was it late enough?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering, if it's going to be late enough in the race that they can make it now to the end on fuel. I think if there's any chance of that happening, that's what they're going to have to gun for, because pit stop's going to cost so much. But then again, they had so much pace that maybe they can run up on some of the rest of this field and still make a go at it. But another incident here up front. This one is David Tilford going off just a little bit, and a good save all in all. He's going to lose a position there to Chris Hamilton. You see Mason Smith back there in the distance, just kind of lingering back there. Again, not really gaining, but not exactly losing too much either. And a couple mistakes like that from these guys, he'll be right on them.
Yeah, and right there you seen Dave kind of get they're tight right there. The front end slid out from underneath them, and then he went off into the dirt there in Delmore, and just if it was the old physics, Dave would have been in the wall. I can tell you that right now. Dave would have been right in the wall, but he was able to use the gravel to his advantage, where it was slowed down enough to rotate that car around and keep going and only lose a position and not cause a huge incident between him and Chris.
So coming up on a third distance here, and Alex Carver is the man out front by about 6.25 seconds now over Chris Hamilton. See him right here on the screen with David Tilford in third. Mason Smith still in fourth. David Tamira in fifth for your LMP3 class. Taking a look back at the GT3s, it is Hector Palazzo out front with a little bit of damage on the back, but if he can keep this pace right here, he should be able to make it as far as he needs to go and then take his pit stop and make it to the end. Not sure if the other guys that got involved in an incident with Dominique Ford and Tim Ponzi can make it to the end. We'll have to sit and wait and see. But Val Casca right there in second place, and not too far behind, about 2.25 seconds back, in a nice prime position right now to collect some good points, but plenty early in this race. Kelly Pointer doing a good job in third. Tyler Kokeko in fourth, but take a look at where your points leader is already, up to fifth place, and got a nice clean BMW right there. Parks doing exactly what Parks does week in and week out, keeping it clean and just picking these guys out one by one, and he's found himself already into this top 5.
Yeah, he knows he's got an uphill challenge. I mean, obviously the LMP3 is a 6-car field. You know, the points leader doesn't have far to go up to the field, and you can pretty much just take your time. You need to have good finishes to maintain your a chance for the championship. And if somebody gets that position on you, no big deal. But it's really not as big of a task as like these GT3s have here, where you see that Parks has made his way up through the field here. Now he's just he knows he needs to keep it clean, because if he finishes last, he loses a ton of points. But working his way up to the field, up to his competitors, minimizing his points loss, really is what keeps these points so challenging for these drivers. And with the addition of Collazo, I mean, that just spices things even up, because I think the last time I heard that he still has a possibility to kind of come up and disturb what's going on with these leaders with these GT3s.
I think he did until he had the issues last week with the computer, and if he was able to grab a win last week, I think he still would have been in the hunt. But now I think it's a bit of a tall reach. Maybe he can still sneak into the top 5 or even top 3, but I think the win may be out of the question. But still going to be out here and still going to be putting these laps down and trying for yet another win here tonight. But these guys are already looking forward to next season. Season 5 of the GT series is going to feature the GTPs, the GT prototypes, and the GT3s. So these guys will have 2 different styles of car, 2 different classes of car that they can choose from. And big slide there, and again, Parks could have set it up the inside right there and made the pass on Kokeko, but stayed back, made the smart move, It allowed Potter to close in on him, but kept the car clean. And, you know, at the very least, he may not have gained that position. He may get it here very soon. But he kept that car clean. He's going to keep it in there and get those bonus points for a clean race if he can get by. And looks like these guys are still doing a bit of battle. But how about Tim Ponzi back there in 11th? Fastest lap of the race here so far in the GT3 class.
Yeah, and he's got some time to make up, you know. Obviously, well, he was one of the ones that spun out, right? So they went in the pits, and I got some some time to make up. Obviously, those drivers are in the back and need to make their way to the front, and we know they're quick. It's just, I think it's just a debate whether they have enough time on that. If it was that fuel stop or that pit stop that they needed to have was too early, and if not, that's really going to ruin the race for the evening.
So we have a chance. Want to thank the man that has sponsored this race or this series, as well as a lot of the things that Core has right now, and that is Kelly Pointer from Pointer Motor Supplies. And again, if you want anything AMSOIL related, if you want for personal use, if you want it for commercial use, you want to become a dealer yourself, get in touch with Kelly over there at Pointer Motor Supplies, and he'll get you set up any AMSOIL needs that you have. But out here, and it's been few and far. He's been working his tail off lately and hasn't gotten out here, and it's been frustrating him. He's been out here. He's been watching some of the races while he's at work. Don't tell his boss, I guess. But he's finally gets a chance to get back out here, and you see what you've been missing. I mean, he is a top contender when he's out here. He's a top 5 driver for sure, and got a good looking Ferrari paint scheme on there. It's the paint scheme that he kind of runs on every one of his cars, but looking pretty sharp there in that Ferrari.
Yeah, it's like I said, the rear end of the Ferrari is kind of what bugs me just a little bit, and it has to grow on you for a little bit. It's like it's smiling at you as it's driving away.
We're coming up on 20 minutes into this race now, and take a look through this field since we finally got training paints working again, and you know, get a chance to show you the paint schemes on these guys' cars. So starting off with your leader again in the LMP3 field. This is Alex Carver. In second place, about 7.25 seconds back, is Chris Hamilton in the 64. David Tilford in his very familiar, what would you call it, like a lime yellow? Greenish yellow,
yeah,
yellow,
it's
green.
like a neon green, yellow. I think it's a reference to his motorcycle jacket that you see in his picture, and he's just a pretty standard Thrustmaster sponsorship. So Dave just does what he does. He represents something basic, and it's easy for him to get a hold and paint any car that he drives pretty much the same paint scheme. So shout out there for Dave for doing that.
I think I know what it is right now. I think it's safety yellow. It looks like a safety vest. That's that could be what it is right there. But that is Tilford here, and he is in third place right now. Mason Smith right behind him again, not really making the charge. Not Mason like here tonight, but maybe he's running a different strategy here. Certainly not going to count it out, but Mason out here in fourth position. Back a little ways is David Tamira rounding out the top 5 here of the 5 cars here in the LMP3 class. Hector Collazo, we've certainly seen a lot of him, and he is out here in his Porsche tonight. A little bit of a bump in the back end, but clearly hasn't been slowing him up at all. Up to about a 3.5 second lead over Pal Casca, seen here in the 221 with the 212 Racing on it. Kelly Porter, just mentioned him running a good third place right now, about 11.5 seconds back behind Casca, 3.25 over Parks de la Cruz, who is in fourth place now, having passed Teleco Keiko for that position, as Keiko right behind him running in fifth. Greg Potter back here in, to me this looks like a Lamborghini kind of paint scheme, but on a Ferrari. It works, to each his own, I guess. This is Greg Potter here in the 616. Mark Parkhurst in 7th place here in the Mountain Dew Porsche. Back here in 8th place is Michael Viglio. Tim Thompson doing a pretty good job. We've seen early in the race. Started at the back of the field here, had the early spin, but a couple guys spinning, a couple guys having some incidents, a couple guys making some early pit stops, and finds himself now in the top 10 in 9th place.
Yeah, it's that consistency that Tim likes to drive. He's very, he's very cautious and safe, and he's very predictable when you come up on him. And I know when I would come up on him on the LMP3 or whatever car, I'm usually trying to drive the faster class for the season. But yeah, he's very predictable and very one of the best drivers to be out there that you can get around him.
And through the rest of the field, you see our one and only lone Ford out here in the field, driven by Terry Jansen. Got John Nobinger back here, and the Stella Artois Porsche back in 13th position. And then rounding out your field, looks like Dominique Ford has actually called it a night here, so not going to try and make the comeback, as he will finish 14th and dead last year on the field. And I think all title hopes will be lost at this point for the 91 team. But not so for Alex Carver, as he continues to lead here out front in the LMP3 class, looking to scratch back that 19-point gap between himself and Mason Smith. And Jimmy, halfway through this race, doing everything he needs to do right now.
Yeah, halfway through the race right now, and that means, if the drivers made it this far, they can go the rest of the way if they were to, had to come into the pits. But right now, that's not something that the LMP3s want to do. They're going to run them things out till they're empty, because the last remaining laps are just silly quick. It's like the car is on rails. It's like a slot car. That's what it feels like, Carl.
Making his way through the back half of the GT3 field right now, just passing Mark Parker's there in 7th, and right before that, passing Michael Viglio in 8th. Next week, Jimmy, we take a look ahead right now, as we got some time halfway through this race, and 2-hour finale. You've been a part of them. You've been, in the car. You've been in the booth. And just talk about the idea of running at most of the season with the 45-minute races, and then all of a sudden you have not only a 2-hour race to finish out the season, but the fact that it's double points, and how much is on the line, especially if you're within that window of making up the ground and having that championship there.
Yeah, I mean, a 2-hour event, to me, I'd prefer them longer. But yeah, a 2-hour event, I think, is a very nice stretch of racing, especially for road racing. It's a lot of time to be out there, to fight the track, get the car, as the tires go, the gas goes. You're probably going to take tires. There's a lot more decision making to come into it, especially early on. Making those aggressive moves might not be the smartest thing. It could end your race, and if you're that close, for a podium or a championship, it's really comes down to just that mental fatigue. Not only physical fatigue, but mental fatigue, and it can really weigh down on a driver. I mean, you've been part of many endurance events and sat in cars for hours and hours and hours, and 2 hours is just a small taste of what basically a single stint would be in any endurance race that you would do in some special event for iRacing.
So talk to us about the Red Bull Ring. Obviously, it's a track we've been to a few times, and now this season is going to play host to the season finale. And thoughts on how these cars and the multi-class action can handle it. It's to me, it's a bit more of a flowy track, and certainly some good passing opportunities there.
Yeah, another track with some decent passing opportunities. Really not as many as people think there is. Again, there's another obviously there's some technical sections where it's pretty much one lane that the drivers will come down through. As you see these drivers go down in the final chicane.
Speaking of one lane.
Porsche. And that's, I mean, that pass right there. Ooh. Oh, Mason.
Just when you thought Mason
bricks
was having a little bit of speed to kind of come into that car, I think he does the right move there. And since he was already slowed down, he's going to bring that thing into the pits. But it seemed like the 6 was finally starting to come alive, reeled in David Tilford there, but bit of a moment coming out of the final corners there and brings it into the pits. David Tilford is still out there, and he's going to lead this lap coming around here and taking one more lap before he brings it into the pits, at least, as the rest of the LMP3 field has come into the pits or is in the pits right now. Alex Carver is out in, or back on the track, about 6.5 seconds ahead of Chris Hamilton. Both of those guys making their pit stops. For the GT3 field, your top 5 are the ones that have yet to make their pit stops. So Collazo, Casca, De La Cruz, Kokeko, and Craig Potter are the only ones on the track, other than David Tilford, that have yet to hit pit lane. But I think the eyes are still on the guy in 6th place. Can Timothy Ponzi make it to the end? Right now he's in 6th place. We'll see where he shuffles out once the top 5 make their pit stops, which should be coming in the next lap or 2. But we are past the halfway point right now, and this is when it's going to start getting interesting, as you see your soon-to-be leader once again, Alex Carver, making his way around here, another lap car.
Yeah, and that's Alex Carver there getting around Timothy Ponzi. So, you know, just getting to the that place where he's getting towards the faster cars in the field. So those cars will be fighting for position, but it looks like Collazo, Parks, and Kokeko have made their way down on the pits to get themselves some go-go juice and you know, tires if they wish to have them. But I'm gonna say they're gonna probably pass on, as this is only a 45-minute race. So hopefully they were able to take care of their tires and keep this thing going, and hopefully get back out there and finish this thing up as well as they would like to. But I was gonna put Al Casca out front temporarily with Craig Potter.
It looks like Collazo already back out on the track, but
there's a wreck down in the pits.
I'm not seeing who that is.
Right there, that blue, Kokeko.
Yeah, and I see a wingback in there, so we're gonna have to just do this old school and rewind this thing back.
Just got hot. Looks like he got hot on the
yeah, trying to get out there. And it's a little bumpy in pit lane there, and spins it out, backs it up in there, and I mean, just the lightest of touches, but that rear wing falls off. That's a shame for Kokeko. I mean, oh man, it's week in and week out, he's got good cars out here. He's got top 5, and just one thing or another happens, and right there, that rear downforce is not exactly going to be the same without that spoiler.
Yeah, and he's gonna feel it, you know, coming around the corners. If he thought that car was loose, it's really gonna be loose. There's gonna be nothing on that rear end, and he's gonna have to fight it to finish this thing up and keep whatever position he can going. But yeah, it's you get in the pits, you get excited, you want to get out, and you got the gas mashed to the ground, and just a little bit too much. So he's going to have his hands full at 37 for the rest of the night.
Al Casca now in pit lane. Craig Potter, he's going to take another trip around the track here and stretch this thing out. But we've got possibly another development here. Alex Carver had an incident. We'll see how bad it is. A little bit of a spin. Gonna back it up and get it back going, but can't have too many more of those, as right there, that is Chris Hamilton on his heels, as this is now the battle for the lead. It was 6.5 seconds. That's gone, Jimmy.
Yeah, and that's one mistake. But as you can tell right there, we talked about the physics of iRacing with the grass and the gravel. It was enough to slow Chris down and kept him off the wall. So, Alex's car is essentially, it's not damaged. And so Chris has got to fight, Alex Carver and a regular car, but they're going to try to get around here to that Porsche that's got to be holding them up. So it's really, I think that Porsche was up in the top, in the front too. So that's one of the top GT3 cars.
Yeah, that is Paul Casca, I believe. They're in third position. They get around him. Now Chris going to try for the over-under. Not going to work there, but right on the back bumper now. What a turn of events here. Brings Hamilton back in the mix, and both of these guys loving the fact that Mason Smith's still back there in fourth position, 7.5 seconds back behind David Tilford, and both these guys looking to gain a good amount of points and reel back in Mason. And man, isn't this thing going to heat up for Red Bull Ring next week?
Yeah, getting back to the Red Bull Ring, it's a lot of similarities to kind of here at Suzuka. They have a lot of technical areas and corners, and altitude change, uphill right-hand turns, downhill, sweeping through the S's, and some down a nice right 90-degree right-hand turn down the front stretch. So it's going to be very interesting. But you see right there, Mason continuing to have issues here at Suzuka. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I remember talking to Mason, and he did stress that Suzuka is not one of his favorite tracks.
Yeah, and clearly showing just that as he is certainly struggling out here tonight. Again, this is your battle for the lead overall here. Looks like Carver has got that thing back under control, starting to stretch out just a little bit here, but lap car is certainly going to play a part as they are coming up on the GT3 class. Leader right now, Hector Collazo, who goes a little wide there, and certainly worked out nicely for Alex Carver. Hamilton going to have to stick behind here, and just losing ground here. It's certainly not what Collazo wanted to do, but it's multi-class racing at its finest right there, and it's what's going to happen. Chris locks up there, going into the hairpin, and going to lose a little bit more time on the drive going out. It's out to about 1.4 seconds now. Taking a look over in the GT3 class, and as the pit stops have now shaken out, Timothy Ponzi is up there in third position. So about 5.8 seconds behind Val Casca for second, but more importantly, Casca has got a car in between him and Parks de la Cruz for that points battle going into the last week. Now, Jimmy, I talked to Mark about it last week. I'm going to ask you, going into next week, being double points, season finale, everything on the line, do you want to go in with a 1-point lead or a 1-point deficit? Given the qualifying and everything else that comes into play.
I guess it really kind of depends if that track is your cup of tea. Is it a place that you've had success? Is it a place is it a track that you haven't even bought yet? There's a lot of factors that go into running the Red Bull Ring. It is a very unique track. It has its challenges, and you can mess up and you can ruin your night in a blink of an eye. I think, like I said, I think with the iRacing's change their gravel and grass is going to really help the drivers out, especially these road racers, and I think it's going to help some and alleviate some of where the car's taken out for the evening unless they actually get into a wall. But I'd almost want to say that I would like to be in a 1-point deficit, and only because you leave everything in your own hands. Making sure you practice to get a good qualifying, to get the max amount of points. Make sure you're out front so you don't have to fight traffic to come up through. I think there's a lot of benefit of being behind going into the final race. But if you're ahead, you know, you got that lead, but you can lose it almost immediately as the race already starts, and then you're already on an uphill battle, you know, from the get-go. So if it was me, I would like to go in as like a one deficit minus rather than 1 point ahead.
Yeah, it's almost, I mean, you look at it as kind of like a super speedway race, like a Daytona. Do you want to be the leader getting that white flag, or do you want to be the guy that's in second? They can certainly both be advantageous, but only one can win, and we'll see how it all plays out next week. I mean, if you guys like what you've seen so far this season, it's going to get even better for that 2-hour season finale next week, so make sure you tune into that one. But we are coming up on, we got about 7.5 minutes left in this race, so it's about time to turn these guys up, turn us down, and give you guys a little love to hear it.
Love to hear it.
are down to the waiting moments here in the second last race of the season here, round 11 at Suzuka. And this is the Core GT Series presented by presented by Pointer Motor Supplies. Kelly Pointer over there at Pointer Motor Supplies. But this thing is getting very interesting. You're looking at the leader here in the GT3 class out there to a 15-second lead. And once again, if Hector can finish the race, Hector wins the race, and that's been his mantra, his motto, whatever you want to call it this season. He is looking for another win. The only time he's been on the track that he has not won, his computer let him down, and that was last week, and it certainly cost him a chance at the championship. But the lead for the LMP3 is not over by any stretch of the means. Chris Hamilton had so many issues right there in that exact corner that cost him so much time. It doesn't cost him time here. It costs Alex Carver time. Side by side going down into 130. This is tough enough going in there single file, but they get it done. Heading now into the final chicane here, and it's going to be white flag in the air. This time I don't believe they took the white flag yet.
And let's see.
Taking a look at it right
now,
and white flag in the air. One more lap to go here at Suzuka, and man, this thing just got turned on its head, and it is go time here for these boys.
Yeah, you can't ask for a better race than that. You know, Chris able to capitalize on one small mistake that Alex had, and now able to pull out by half a second up to the S's, but with some lap traffic in the way. You know, are they going to get out of the way? Is he going to be able to pick? Are they going to let both by? As you can see, Audi Vassam kind of knows that they're coming. He's probably watching his relative closely as they go up in here and up in the Dahmer. He's going to allow him to go by nice and cleanly, so no interference from Audi Vassam. Oh, as Alex gets a little bit wide there.
Oh, Chris makes a mistake, so does Alex.
Both of them.
Oh, man.
These two drivers are just going at it.
Again, just a reminder, these guys were second and third in points coming in here. Chris Hamilton, 18 points behind Mason Smith, and Alex Carver, 19 points behind Mason Smith coming in. Mason not having his type of night, certainly Suzuka not being friendly to him. Had another incident while we were on the Love to Hear It, and he is 2.6 seconds behind David Tilfer right now for the last spot on the podium. So he's going to lose even more ground to these guys by not finishing in third. He's going to finish, look like, in fourth, unless he can reel in Tilford in this last lap. But this is the battle for the win here tonight, and some very, very crucial, pivotal points for both of these drivers, but even more so for the win heading through 130R, the final time. And Chris Hamilton just got to navigate these final three corners to, in the chicane, excuse me, get the power down. The final corner coming through here, and what a comeback for Chris Hamilton. Devastation for Alex Carver. And man, that little spin in the chicane earlier in the race cost him this race.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically a loss of 5 seconds, and he needed every little bit of that. And Chris, obviously great driver and kept his composure to get back up front, but we've seen Chris make his mistakes, trying to get into corners a little bit too hard and losing that front end, getting them tight, and almost cost him, to go around himself. So it was some very pivotal, questionable maneuvers and driving by Chris at points. So we were watching him trying to get around here as he was trying to chase down Alex Carver, but right there at the end, he made it happen and got around the Alex Carver for the win here tonight. Overall winner, and obviously P1 for the LMP3s with Chris Hamilton and Alex Carver and Dave Tilford. But you're seeing a lot. I keep hearing of this Colazzo driver that showed up as I took my kind of absence, and I'm looking at our new list for next season, and I see he's signed up with Alex Carver, Dave Tilford, Dominic Ford, Michael McCoy, Mason Smith, Parks Cruz, Sahaj Patiar, Kokeko. The LMP, the GTP class is going to be stacked, and it is going to be interesting. I know I signed up for the GT3s, but I almost want to broadcast just to watch those guys, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, if you thought this season was stacked with the LMP3 class, I mean, next season is just a spoil of riches in that GTP class right now with the guys that are signed up there. It's ridiculous, all the talent that's going to be in that class for next season. But man, what a finish to this one, and again, some pivotal points here. The way this is going to finish out, but give a rundown now. It is Chris Hamilton, your winner here in the LMP3s. Alex Carver finishing in second. David Tilford, a good podium there in third. Mason Smith in fourth. David Tamir in fifth. Switching over to the GT3 class, Hector Collazo getting it done again here by 13.25 seconds over Parks Taylor Cruz in second. So Parks making a statement here, and that is a very, very huge second place, with Pal Kaskin having a major issue there at the end, and that could certainly cost him the championship. Kelly Pointer in third, Craig Potter, Timothy Ponzi, your top five. Mark Parkhurst in sixth, Tyler Kokeko in seventh, Michael Viglio, Abiy Vishvasman, Tim Thompson, your top 10, and then you got Casca finishing back there in 11th place. John Nominger, Terry Jansen, and then Dominique Ford rounding out your field here in the GT3 class. Man, what a turn of events there for the win in the LMP3. Heartbreak for Pal Casca in the waning moments, and take a look back and see exactly what happened to Parks, or to Pal Casca, as once again 130R claiming a victim and claiming it big time there. Hard impact, and you've seen it kind of in the background there of the love to hear it
off the road too.
And you see him try to get back on the track here, but that thing was, as we know in iRacing, crab walking very close right there. That was Kelly Pointer getting around, and that saved him his well, his shorts for sure, but certainly saved him his podium spot as well.
Yeah, that was a close one there, especially for Kelly, as he was trying to get that, Pal Casca was trying to get that Porsche back to the pits, or at least continue the rest of his race, but it was just too far gone, as the steering was just shot from hitting the wall way too hard. And Dave Tilford was able, it's right there as that instant, Dave Tilford was able to collect himself and not get taken out as well. So some good heads-up driving by the other drivers, as Pal Casca was having his troubles there with that 130 per corner.
So we will go ahead and start to bring in our interviews here, and we're going to start off in the LMP3 class, and going to be third place here tonight, and this is David Tilford, if I can get it going here, and of course this is when he's in the pits. So yeah, David, a great podium tonight here in third place, and it seemed like you had a lot of pace out here tonight, the entire night. You had it in practice, you had it in the qualifying, and you had it in the race, and it was enough to hold off Mason there at the end.
Yeah, well, I didn't hold off Mason on pure pace. I mean, it was, I think he got into some trouble with some lap traffic, and I had my own issues too, so just lucky to keep it in front of him, just barely there at the end.
So talk to me about Suzuka here. It's a track where there's more corners, so you guys have more of a chance to kind of catch up, keep up with these GT3s, but obviously passing opportunities here, not so many of them. It seemed a bit rough like usual out here for you guys to get around. Did that play a part in your finish here tonight?
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I mean, it's not that there's not opportunities to pass. I think it's just hard to communicate the pass and exactly where it's going to be, so that you're not coming across the track or parking in the middle, or the slower traffic's not in your way. So I mean, I tried to communicate with the car, put it where I'm going to be after the corner, so that they know I'm going that way. I think the other part that makes it hard is there's a lot of high-speed stuff, so there's not a lot of time to make choices, and if you get twitchy through there, you're going to be in trouble. Spoon corner especially, and 130R with the. I mean, we're flat out with the LMPs, but the GT3s aren't. So that can spell some trouble too.
Yeah, and speaking of 130R and the exit of 130R, had a bit of a moment there late in the race with Valkaska across the track there, and he had to chase that thing off and use the new grass physics in iRacing. I'm sure that's not what you wanted to do that late in the race here.
No, I had a heart and mouth moment there. I thought for sure Powell was going to send it all the way across the track, and the only way I was going to avoid it was to go in the grass. But I just looked at the replay. He parked it just on the edge of the track. I would have had room, but I mean, you don't know. Split second decision. You don't know what's going to happen there, and just a little twitch, and it sent me off.
Well, it paid off all the way at the end here. You finish in third. Mason was certainly closing on you, but you got your third place finish here tonight. How good does it feel to get a podium here at Suzuka? It's not a track we normally go to.
Well, the first half of the race, I was thinking, oh, this is a fun track. This is great. And second half, the tires get a little warm, hit a little traffic, you send it off in spoon corner, and the tires are angry at you, and then it becomes a real challenge. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the third place tonight. I think it could have gone a lot of different ways, and would have been easy to be a lot further back.
Well, congrats on your third place here and another podium here, as it seems like you're really kind of hitting your stride late in the season, and it's paying off with some good finishes. So congrats again, and any way you want to give a shout out to or thanks to.
Yeah, just thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks to you guys in the booth, everyone watching out there, to my family as always, and yeah, I think that's about it, guys.
All right, well, we'll let you go celebrate with the boys here, and we'll see you next week for the season finale.
All right, see you guys.
At your third place finisher here in the LMP3 class, the 12 of David Tilford. Now we'll bring up the second place finisher, and Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and take the 79 of Alex Carver.
Hey, Alex, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booty copy.
Yep.
I know this is not the position that you want to finish here tonight. As much you put down some really fast laps. You led pretty much 95% of the whole race overall, and with the exception of coming in the pits there for a few laps. But you just had a few incidents late in the race, specifically the one, I believe it was the 130 turn where you got yourself kind of turned around and lost about 4 or 5 seconds to Chris, allowing him to kind of catch up there towards the end. Besides that, what were the, you had a great race. I just, obviously the few mistakes that were unfortunately made, how was it out there tonight for you? And is there anything else that maybe you could have done different to make your run a lot smoother?
Not spin. After spinning, it destroyed my tires. I didn't have grip, so we just tried to hang on.
But I mean,
a second.
No. You got some stiff competition, and with everything going, for the season coming down to the end, you're still on that run for the championship. And I see next season you signed up for the GTP series. You looking forward to next season as well?
Yeah, finally be able to get by GT3s on the straightaway.
I am with you on that one. Like I was telling Carl, I decided Mark couldn't be here tonight, so I figured I'd just come in a booth, but I was trying to get some runs in, and I haven't been running with you guys for the past a little over a month now, and I just wasn't up to speed. I was barely faster in the GT3s, and you guys are having a hard enough time with that as well. So I think the disparity between the speed difference for next season is gonna be a lot better, and it's gonna be easier for the GTPs and the GT3s to kind of give each other leeway and room to make things work a little bit better. But yeah, you definitely have a challenge here with the GT3s with the LMP just not having the straightaway speed or the pickup that you think they would have.
Yeah.
But anyways, I want to say, obviously congratulations on the second place finish here tonight, and give you a little bit of time for any shout outs or thanks that you may have.
Thanks to you guys for hosting and putting this on. Thanks to NG3D. Yeah.
All right, Alex. Well, again, congratulations on that second place finish here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah.
All right, that the 79 of Alex Carver, second place here in the LMP3s, and clearly not happy with the finish there, and just frustrated, but certainly still in the mix here for the championship, and a lot to play for next week at Red Bull Ring. But we'll bring in our winner here tonight, and that is going to be the 64 of Chris Hamilton. And Chris, beginning of the race, you're following around David Tilfer for a while, and it seemed like David kind of had your number. It seemed like he had the pace. Was that the case, or were you just kind of hanging behind him and trying to get some fuel mileage?
I wasn't really trying to hang behind him, but at least what I was trying to do is just relax and be patient this race. I think the past couple of races I was impatient, trying to get a lead, get away from Mason, get up to Alex, and I just kind of I approached tonight a lot differently than I have the previous season or the past few races, and I think it worked out.
Yeah, it certainly did. So tell me what your reaction and how you kind of handled it when you seen that 5.5, 6 second gap go to pretty much nothing, and you had Alex Carver right in front of you there at the end.
Didn't really overreact too much. I just was just hitting my lines, minimizing mistakes. I mean, granted I still got 7x just running it off the course, but I didn't want to have the catastrophic mistake that took me out of the race last week. So that was my goal. I would have been very okay with second. Just needed something, get some momentum back into the finale. But yeah, just minimizing mistakes and being patient was the key.
So it seemed like you were right there. You're right with him running for a little bit, but he certainly had the edge coming out of Spoon, out of the towards the backstretch there, and it seemed like there was a couple laps in a row that you could not get the power down, and then all of a sudden, next lap it was role reversal, and he had the trouble getting the power down. So was that kind of a shock to you, or were you kind of aware of it from the 2 laps previous to that you were kind of having trouble getting that back end to grip up, and you really kind of took care and it just paid off at the right time?
I was the previous 2 laps before the pass, I was aware of it, and I was like, okay, I'm losing time. I didn't even know that was the name of the corner. But it was the same spot 2 laps in a row, and it was just managing if and when you can get on the power, and but still having the rotation so you don't spin out. And this car is very weird. It has stages in which you can super push it, or when you can't push it at all, given the fuel load. So it's I just made sure, like, all right, I told myself 2 laps in a row, I messed this place up. Let's get it right the next time. And it just so happened that Carver did not get a good drive out, took my opportunity, and drove away.
So you and Carver do what you got to do. You finish 1-2. You beat Mason. You have a pretty decent qualifying here as well, qualifying in third. So you're going to be gaining points there as well. Now the points gap is going to be smaller heading into the season finale. What's the mindset going into to Red Bull Ring with that thing being a 2-hour finale?
Must win. There is no ifs, ands, or buts anymore. Must win.
All right, well, there you have it. So certainly stay tuned to the 64 next week for all you Hamilton fans. It's going to be very interesting to see all 3 of you guys in LMP3. And honestly, I mean, I need to figure out a way for SDK to have a picture-in-picture, because between you guys in the LMP3 and the battle that's going to be going on in the GT3 as well, we're going to need to see both in action at the same time. But congrats on your win here tonight, a big one at the right time here, and you head into the season finale with some high hopes for sure. So before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Huge shout out to the friends and family watching. Love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Huge shout out to all the racers out there keeping it nice and clean. I know there's going to be problems, but trying to minimize it is the best we can do. And thank you guys for the broadcast. Couldn't do it without you.
All right, another win here for you on the season, and we'll see you next week where you try and go and put a stamp on this thing.
All right, here's to it.
That your winner here tonight, the 64 of Chris Hamilton in the LMP3 class. Now we'll turn over to the GT3s, and Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and take our 3rd place finisher, the 75 of Kelly Pointer.
Well, Kelly, first of all, it's Jimmy and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, not too bad. One, I want to say congratulations on the 3rd place finish. 2, thank you for sponsoring the Core GT series here. Another just awesome thing that you do for the league in general. So, I just wanted to just give you a thanks for that before we even get started. But tonight, I mean, you're able to get that 75 kind of going and, stay out of trouble and or get into trouble here. I think you had a couple mishaps here and there, just light, but able to finish this thing, come away with a third place finish here tonight. Why don't you give us a little bit of rundown on how your night went went for you as this 45 minutes at Suzuka?
Well, it went pretty good, I felt. I mean, I struggled. Like, I tested here with the BMW and the Ferrari and the Porsche, and the Ferrari was by far the best of them, in my opinion. But had to dodge some stuff, definitely. I almost got... is it Casca? I almost got him in like lap 16 or so. Is a close one. But I just tried to stay out of trouble, tried to just take it easy and accelerate late and run my own race the track instead of everyone else. So it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those unique tracks, some high speed, some technical, just pretty much all around. And, it was a track that personally myself, I tried to stay away from. I never had any success on there until I ended up doing a couple endurance events with Matt Goring and Derek Sherman as we tackled like a 3-hour event here. And we just kind of come in our own and really, kind of put our stamp on this place. And I know you guys are right around like the 2-minute area right there. And I know for a fact, if obviously if you guys had your own setups and whatnot, the sub 2s were really in there for the GT3s. But I see the just like the GT3s week in and week out, you guys were always giving them LMP3s a challenge, as the top speed is about the same.
Yeah,
cornering speed, so it really does make a challenge, and it's kind of fun to watch to see how everybody handles it. But next season, hopefully you get to partake in the next season with the GTPs and the GT3s. Are you looking forward to the major difference in the speed of the different classes?
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I mean, I'd like to see some more speed, from the faster cars, because I'm going to stay with the GT3s. I enjoy those. But racing with the ones that are just right there, it's like, should I give him his spot yet? And then it could screw up your lap, having something a little faster would be a better idea. But yeah, I had a good time, had a great race, I had a lot of fun. I learned something actually, and I told Tyler something coming out of those. It's right at the double hairpin or whatever, right before the front straight. If you come out of that corner and go quick in the shifts, I get up to third gear real quick. It just helps you just stick to the track a lot better instead of chasing the ass in around all the way. But all around though, everybody maintained, didn't get too crazy, and drove a good race. So I enjoyed it, and I look forward to coming back and running next year in all the classes and sponsoring again. So I just need to get Carl to give me some information. So, all righty.
Will do, buddy.
All right, Kelly, we'll go ahead and I'll let you get out of here. Do you have any other special thanks before we do let you get out of here officially?
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you guys for doing the league and the video and promoting my business, pointersmotorsupply.com. If anybody needs any AMS oil, give me a call. My phone number's on the website, pointersmotorsupplies.com. Talk to you guys later. God bless.
All right, later, Kelly.
That is your third place finisher in the GT3 class, the 75 of Kelly Pointer, and now bring in second place in the GT3, and that is going to be the 35 of Parks De La Cruz. And Parks, I got to say, coming from the back here at this track didn't seem like it was going to be an easy task at all. It's I mean, it was tough for the class difference with the LMP3s against the GT3s, but just tell me about coming from back there, and then it was about 15th place coming through all of these GT3 cars.
Starting from the back, naturally spirits were pretty low. And so my goal was just at that point, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to keep it on track. And that's all I had to do. And that really paid off, because literally everyone in front of me just couldn't keep it on track, especially through 130R and the exit curbs. That's what got Paul. That's what got Dominique on that early race incident. That's what got pretty much a ton of people. And also the fact that you have to trail brake a ton really demands like a ton out of your car control skill. And obviously, my own car control skill was put on display today, keeping the car on track.
Yeah, talk to me about 130R. It seemed like that was obviously the place to kind of just set your chair up there, set a camera up there, and just watch the carnage, because there's so many different ways you can take that corner, and you could hit that curb 20 times the same way, and then that 21st time you hit that curb the exact same way, and it spits you out.
Yeah, if you go back and watch the way I was taking 130R, I didn't dare try to put two wheels on that curve. I wasn't risking it at all.
Well, I think it was certainly the right play here tonight. You may have lost, half a second there every time. Well worth it. Well worth it every time. I don't blame you at all. But now talk to me about the other major point here tonight, and that is the points. You come in here as the points leader, and only by 1 point over Paul Casca, but Casca had his issues, finishes way back in the field. You had Tim Ponzi looking like he was going to have a good finish again, but had his issues, obviously getting tangled up with Dominique Ford there in the beginning. Yep. And obviously Dominique being the other one. So all your closest competitors having a really, really bad race at the last kind of possible moment. Obviously, we have the drop races that are going to factor into it, so it may not be, a huge swing potentially. But how big was this second place here tonight going into the finals next week?
I know that Paul has his own drop race, so technically my plan that I set at Road Atlanta to stay in second in the championship technically failed. If I end up just championship lead again, I'll just have to do the same thing, keep the car on track for 2 hours.
Well, I guess if there was any time for you to be in first and have to come from the back, it'd be a 2-hour race instead of a 45-minute race, because I'm sure it's
absolutely
it was a bit hectic and a bit nerve-wracking, regardless of everybody flying off the track in front of you, just having to come through this field. But you get it done. You get a second place here, a big time to get a second place here at the end of the season. So heading into Red Bull next week, what's your outlook? How do you feel at Red Bull? Do you feel like you have a good shot there?
I think that, well, I know the BMW is not strong on that Red Bull Ring, because exit speed is, or exits are really important at Red Bull Ring because of the 3 big straights. But I think that if I can just pull off keeping the car on track again and just pull off keeping out of trouble, I'll definitely yet again have a good shot.
Is there any chance we see you in something other than a BMW?
Next season.
Or do we just wait and see? Good answer. There you go. Good answer. All right. Well, congrats again on your second place finish here tonight, and certainly the points lead going into the finale. So before we let you go, anybody you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Shout out to Kelly Pointer. He also managed to keep out of trouble, which is always very important. And also shout out to Tyler Kokeko for running my own livery. And of course, shout out to 2-2 Racing.
All right. Well, again, another good finish here for you tonight. Another clean race for the 35 team. So we will see you next week for the finale.
Thank you very much.
That is the 35 Parks de la Cruz, the second place finisher here tonight in the GT3s. Now, Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and take our winner here tonight, the 0-2 of Hector Collazo.
Hey, Hector, Jimmy, Carl up here to booth. You copy, buddy?
Yep.
Hey, I haven't had a chance to talk to you yet, so welcome to Core in general, and obviously the Core GT series. As I was usually out there in the LMP3s myself and try to get around you, but just not up to speed, and it took some time off, so I decided to cop up here in the booth with Carl. But you ran a pretty good race, but early on, about lap 4 or 5, all you 3 leaders got together. And you really suffered a little bit of damage on the rear end of that car. It was like the biggest thing that I noticed. Was that something that kind of you thought maybe would hinder your lap times around here as other two competitors went into the pits right then?
Yeah, I kind of cooked my rears, so majority of the time, if you see me in the hairpins, my rear end will just spin out, and especially you can see in 130R that I completely did a 360 and saved it millimeters off the wall after barely clipping the rumble strip on the outside with my rear tires. So I don't know if it was cooked tires or it was just the damage, but I felt like it was a mix of it.
Yeah, really. I mean, your lap times were still good. Obviously, you were still pulling away. Obviously, Ponzi coming into the pits and he was turning some really quick laps. It was the only way for his chance trying to catch you. I'm sure he was doing everything possible to get back up to where he was for that battle. As guys were obviously off sequence and pit stops, and maybe something when it came into fruition. Obviously when things going around, but. In any case, you were able to make it all the way back around when you were scheduled for your pit stop. You got your fast repair, came back out with fuel. You pretty much you drove away from the field. And talking to Carl is basically if you start a race and you're able to finish it, you're winning. So
yeah,
next week, last week you weren't able to finish because of computer problems. Next week we're rolling into a 2-hour event into Red Bull. How is your how do you feel about the Red Bull Ring, and is that somewhere that you like to run or you don't like to run? What's your competition, gonna feel like, with you going around there and trying to, I guess, disrupt their points championship?
Red Bull is not really my strength. I don't even have the track yet, so I'm gonna have to probably buy it tonight and get some laps in. Honestly, it's just anyone can win at that track. It's just a full draft track with these GT3s. I just have nothing to say right now. I'm surprised how I just won this race with damage.
Yeah, you did walk away. I mean, I think out of all three you took some damage on the rear bumper, and that was the most. And I was like, well, at least his wings there, his front end's pretty decent. He should be okay. And like I said, you were still racking off the laps, 201s, I think it was. Did a great job just continuing your lead and just showing that the guys, give them something to look back on and maybe see what what lines you're taking, maybe your breaking points, whatever it may be. But, looking ahead, I know the championship's coming up. And you don't really have a chance for a points championship this season, but I do see you signed up for next season with them GTP cars, and it looks like it's stacked. But I think with your driving style and the others that are going to join you, I think you guys are going to have one heck of a battle. I mean, I signed up for the GT3s myself, but I really almost half tempted to back out just to be in the booth to watch you guys, because it's really looking to be a heck of a turnout and a battle between them GTPs. So. But anyways, from CRN, I just wanted to say congratulations on tonight's win here at Suzuka, and give you a little bit of time, any shouts or thanks that you may have.
I want to say thank you to my underwear for staying hold with me with all these incidents that happened, and
that's a good one.
I'm just happy with the car. I felt in rhythm with it, and that's all I gotta say.
All right, man. Again, congratulations on that victory here tonight, and look forward to seeing you what you can do at the Red Bull Ring.
All right, thank you guys. Good night.
That is your winner here tonight in the GT3 class, the 02 of Hector Collazo. Obviously, next week, we mentioned it multiple times now, season finale, 2 hours, double points. I mean, just it doesn't get much better than that, but I do have the early notes here in regards to the points, and starting with the GT3 class, Parks de la Cruz is going to carry a 16-point lead over Pau Casca into the finale, and 38 points over Tim Ponzi. So Ponzi going to need some help, going to need quite a bit of help to catch Parks de la Cruz, and going to need him to actually have some incident points, and that's going to be tough just in itself. Pau Casca still in the mix, only 16 points back, so not just over and done and dusted quite yet, and Casca still has a chance. The LMP3s, a little bit different. Basically, winner take all. Mason Smith going to have a 5-point lead over Chris Hamilton, 6 points over Alex Carver. So whatever you're doing next Monday night, cancel it. I don't care if the family's coming over. I don't care if you just got a brand new puppy. Put it back. It's going to be pretty crazy next Monday night. Make sure you tune in, and it's going to be all here on CRN. Want to thank all you guys for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Thank you again to Kelly over at Pointer Motor Supplies. Jimmy, thank you for stopping here in the booth, and I'm sure it was fun watching here tonight. And I'm already getting the sense that you don't mind staying up here in the booth and watching from the tower up here for next week as well. As it's gonna be crazy. But for myself and Jimmy here at the GT series, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.